If you're sick and tired of getting these really small approvals of $300, $500, I'm gonna show you exactly how we got our 18-year-old client approved for two $5,000 cards each on his first two applications with absolutely nothing on his credit report. So he started from complete scratch. He didn't have any authorized users, nothing. He had absolutely no history, no accounts, nothing. And we were able to get him $5,000 on an Apple Card and $5,000 on a Chase Freedom Unlimited. And now we're in the process of getting him approved for a $10,000 to $25,000 card at Navy Federal. In this video, I'm gonna show you how to do it completely for free. I'm not gatekeeping anything. I normally charge $1,000 for this. So all I ask is that you actually execute on this information, because if you do this right and you execute, you could be in a position to potentially make hundreds of thousands of dollars down the line. Not exaggerating at all. If you build your credit, you can then get access to 0% interest business funding and then have the money to start your first business and buy back your time and freedom, okay? Now, it's really important that you watch the entire video, because ultimately you don't want to skip a step. You want to execute everything in the exact order that I tell you, and I'm gonna lay it all for you guys right here, all right? So first things first, we're gonna get into Navy Federal, all right? You don't need to have a family member in the service. You don't need to have anybody that is, you know, in the military, etc. If you have a friend or family that's in Navy Federal, you can actually get in using what is called the roommate hack. Okay, so this is how I got in. Essentially what's going to happen is you're going to get their access code, all right? So you get their access code and you sign up and you create a flagship checking account, okay? Now, you are gonna have to have that address for 45 days. It's not gonna stay like that forever, but you will essentially be using their address for 45 days, okay? After 45 days, you can change the address back to your house, to home, all right? So that's essentially step one. We're gonna get into Navy Federal. The entire purpose of getting into Navy Federal is so that we can do what's called a pledge loan, all right? So a pledge loan is our way of essentially building our relationship with Navy Federal, and it's a way of using money to create our first primary trade line account that is going to be of a high limit, okay? So essentially, in Navy Federal terms, this is called a savings secured loan. Could be secured savings loan, but you want to use an amount of $1,000 to $5,000. So $1,000 to $5,000. Now, I do apologize for the mess, guys. Now, one of the cool things about a pledge loan is that you're going to put the money in a savings account and they're going to lend you money based on the amount that you have in that account. So the more the better. If you can get $10,000, $20,000 in there, even better. You're gonna get 95, 99% of this money back. So it's important that you do it with as much as possible, because the only thing it's going to do is strengthen your ability to have a stronger profile, right? This is our way of essentially cheating the system and running a loophole to get a $5,000 loan with really good history, okay? After 5 days, you're going to pay off everything but $20, all right? So you're gonna leave a $20 balance. It's really important that you do that. And after we leave a $20 balance, we're gonna put the rest on auto pay, right? Now, I forgot to mention, it's really important that you set up a loan with 60-month terms. That's 5 years, okay? Reason being is that closed accounts are really bad for your credit, because they'll close down and affect your average credit age. So what we want to do is actually keep it for as long as possible. We don't want to be in a position where only doing it for 6 months or 12 months. We want it as long as possible. Now, yes, it will close down after 5 years, but after 5 years of doing this process, your credit is going to be fully built out. We won't need this loan anymore, okay? The cool part about all of this is that after we get this done, we're going to get a 98 to 99% paid off loan with great payment history. So it's going to make your account look really, really good, all right? Now you're gonna do this twice. So rinse and repeat, okay? So you're gonna rinse and repeat the process. At the same time, what we're going to do here is then come and start a account with Chase, all right? So we're gonna open up a Chase checking account. You can do all of this at the same time, right? So you don't have to do the Navy Federal process first, then jump into the Chase checking. You want to do all of these at the same time. We're then going to set up direct deposit, all right? The reason why is when we don't have any credit cards, we don't have any history, the only thing we can do is data mine with actual checking deposits. So what I mean by that is they can't see anything other than the activity in your checking account. So they're gonna take a look at, does he have direct deposit set up? They love direct deposit because it's automatically transferring whatever you make directly into their institution, right? So they're trying to lock in your money by having you deposit it with direct deposit, right? So they're going to take a look at, what are the deposits? How much is coming in? How often is it coming in? How much is this person spending? We want to show this data to them. And I know normally none of us really think about this stuff, but the banks are paying attention. That's also why you get offers from banks, even if you don't necessarily qualify, because they're paying attention to how much money is in that account, how often it's coming in, and your spending habits. Okay, we're going to set up direct deposit. If you're a contractor or you get, you don't have a W-2 job and you can't set up direct deposit, you want to deposit as frequently as possible. I would say 1 or 2 times a week, and put all your money in there. The whole point is to build a relationship, and we can do that only with a checking account. We don't need to have the credit cards just yet. At the same time, we're going to then set up a credit strong, okay? So we don't do any of that AVA kickoff stuff, but we will add a credit strong account to essentially do a credit mix. So what this is going to do, and the plan is called a CS Max, I believe it's about $28 a month. It's going to create a history of an installment account as well with good payment history, okay? We're only gonna need it realistically for about 3 to 4 months, all right? So don't worry, you're not gonna pay for it forever. Realistically, you'll probably pay like $120 here. Now, at the 2.5 month mark, okay? And I forgot to mention, we wanna age those pledge loans at least 3 months. So after we pay it off, after 5 days, they're just gonna pretty much exist and then run a transaction of like a couple pennies, if not $1 a month, right? But what we want to do is at the 2.5 month mark, we want to add some authorized users, okay? Or there you'll often hear the term trade line. And I'm gonna just write it here as AUs, authorized users. The reason why we're adding these authorized users is to increase our credit history age, right? Because you're a new profile, because you don't have much on there, you're going to artificially increase your average age history by adding trade lines. So you can do this a couple of ways, right? If you have friends or family that are willing to add you as an authorized user on their account, make sure that they have some good age on there. That's going to be really important. We want to look for a card with 6 to 10 years on there of age, okay? So we want to add a card of 6 to 10 years and ideally have 2 of those, right? If they're on the lower side of like 2-3 years, you need 2. If it's like one with 10 years, 8 years, you probably only need 1. You're gonna have to do the math based on your average age. But if you're a brand new account, your ages are only gonna be about 3 months, right? For the pledge loans, for the CS Max installment account. So they're gonna be relatively young. So we wanna add one that's about 6 to 10 years old, right? And it does help if you can get one with 6 to 10K in limits. Okay, so if you can get it for free from your friends and family, 100% do that. If you don't have anybody that can help you, I do sell trade lines. They run from about $300 to $500. It takes 2 weeks to get on there and they'll stay for about 2 months, which gives you the time to do your application. So a couple things, at the 2.5 month mark, we're adding these AUs because it's going to take us 2 weeks. By that point, we're gonna be at the 3 month mark, right? We're gonna be at the 3 month mark. Our pledge loans will be 3 months. Our CS Max account will be 3 months. And then our average age history is going to be over 1 year because the AUs are going to show up within 2 weeks of doing this at the 2.5 month mark. I like to plan in advance. I like to get everything done as quickly as possible. So this is why I plan ahead and do it at the 2.5 month mark so that at month 3 on the dot we can apply for our credit cards. Okay, so at this point, right, everything should be good to go. We have our 2 pledge loans of at least $2,000 each. We have our credit strong account, and we have Chase that we've been data mining with deposits in there for the last 3 months. We then want to apply for the Apple Card, okay? The reason why we do the Apple Card is because it's so easy. They do a pre-approval, okay? So we'll know if we get approved and what the limit is before they actually even process the application, right? It's not going to leave a hard inquiry on our account. So what we're going to do is freeze TransUnion, okay? We're gonna write that as TU. We're gonna freeze TransUnion. So a couple things. We're gonna do the application on our phone. We're gonna get a pre-approval. They'll say, hey, you got a pre-approved for $5,000, Would you like to accept and submit this offer? At that point, you're not gonna press yes, okay? What we're gonna do is freeze to you, and we're gonna wait 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, accept the offer, all right? Then the next day, we can unfreeze to you so that we don't have a frozen bureau, all right? At this point, you should get approved from anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000. My 18-year-old client got approved for $5,000. And then we're not going to apply for Chase right away. The most important part is that we wait for Chase to show up. We wait for the Apple Card to show up. So it can take anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks to show up on your credit profile. And the reason why we're waiting is because it's going to be a really good comparable. So the reason why we essentially wait is so that it shows up on our account, so that when Chase runs the application, they're essentially now going to see a $5,000 Apple Card. So there's 2 cards you can go for, right? You can go for the Freedom Unlimited or the Sapphire Preferred, okay? Couple things, this is a 0% interest card right here. If you're trying to start a business, you can technically use this, although your utilization will take a hit. This is a $0 annual fee card as well. This is a $95 card, but there's a lot of travel hacking and benefits that come with this Sapphire Preferred. I think there's a sign-up bonus of like $40,000 as well. So it really depends. It doesn't matter which one, but my student or client, I should say, did apply for the Freedom Unlimited, and you got a 5K approval, all right? So he now has 10K in total limits at 18 years old with no credit history. We built out the credit history for him, right? And then now he's essentially going to go to Navy Federal, all right? Why are we going back to Navy Federal? Because they give approvals of $10,000 to $25,000 if you build a relationship with them. Now, we have the 2 pledge loans, but there's a couple of other things we need to do to really build out that relationship with them. What's important is that you follow these steps to the T. So we already have a flagship checking, we're good there. We wanna now set up direct deposit, okay? So this is going to be important. We're gonna change direct deposit from Chase. We got our approval, we're good there. We're gonna change it to Navy Federal. Then what we're going to do is add OOPS. OOPS is overdraft protection, optional overdraft protection services. You gotta wait 90 days, but at this point, 90 days will have passed and we can set this up immediately. And the reason why we're doing all of this, guys, is we're using their products. I know we don't think of it as a product, but a checking account, a savings account, OOPS, a CD account, right? The pledge loans, they're all products of that institution. And so the more that we have, the stronger our relationship is with that bank. So we're gonna set up OOPS. We also want to get a CD account. It's essentially a certificate of deposit. I think for Navy Federal terms, it's called an Easy Start certificate. I believe it's 12-month term, and they're essentially going to lock it up. It's a high yield savings account where the money is locked up, so keep that in mind. But the money's not going anywhere. It's gaining interest at a higher rate than a checking or savings account. So the whole point is just to build that relationship, right? So we got direct deposit set up. We have our 2 pledge loans. We have OOPS. We have a CD account, which is called an Easy Start certificate. And then at this point, you should start getting some pre-approval emails or offers in the mail. Now, once you start getting these pre-approvals, it's a very good situation for you because they're essentially saying, hey, we like you as a customer. We want to give you this card. And when they're saying that by mailing you either via email or offers, they're going to give you a very, very high limit. I had another client, she wanted to get funding and she went to Navy Federal. We built out her credit profile following all these exact steps. She was able to get an $18,000 card, and her only other card before that was like $2,000. So that's the power of Navy Federal, is when you build that relationship, they're gonna give you these really high approvals from 10 to 25K in limits, okay? Even if your other comparables are trash, right? That's why people love Navy Federal. They also have really good interest rates. They loan out a lot of money, give you really good loans, interest rates for cars, etc. So Navy Federal is a great bank to essentially be part of. All right, this is essentially step A through Z, guys. This covers everything, and it'll put you in a position Now, mind you, even when you do get approved for this 10 to 25K approval, you're not gonna be able to access business funding for about probably another 6 months from this approval, but it will put you in a position where if you start today, within 12 months, you'll be able to access zero, I would say, $50,000 to $150,000 in 0% interest business funding and give you that launch pad to then grow that business, start that business, scale that business to whatever you need to. That way you can escape the rat race and be your own boss. That's how I was able to scale my first business, Amazon FBA. Well, I guess that was my second business, but I was able to scale it to $1 million a year by using business credit cards. Now, thankfully, I built up my credit early in my 20s, and then by the time I started Amazon, I was like 27, 28. I had the perfect launching pad already. But if you're young or you're just sick and tired of not getting those high limit approvals and you're getting denied or turned down for funding, follow this exact roadmap that I gave you. It's completely free. The information is available for you here. Only thing I ask is that you actually execute on this information, because it could change your life if you take this seriously and do everything that I tell you. Anyways, I appreciate you guys tuning into this video. If you like my video here, hit that subscribe button and share this with a friend that essentially you can grow with. Help them build their credit as well. This is completely free and it'll essentially be here forever. So anyways, I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.